Let me tell you something right now. This is not a motivation problem. This is not a bad luck problem. This is a discipline problem. And discipline is war. Not a cute little challenge. Not a 7-day reset. Not a new month, new me fantasy. A war. And most people, they don't lose because they're weak. They lose because they quit. Discipline is not something you turn on when you feel inspired. It is not a surge of emotion, a burst of energy, or a temporary wave of motivation. Discipline is a decision repeated daily, especially when your feelings argue against it. It is waking up when your body begs for sleep, working when your mind wants distraction, and staying committed when nobody is watching. Most people misunderstand discipline because they expect it to feel empowering every day. In reality, it often feels uncomfortable, repetitive, and demanding. The ones who succeed accept that discomfort is not a sign to stop, but a signal that growth is happening. The real enemy in the 9-0-day discipline war is not your job, your circumstances, or the people around you. It is the voice inside your head that negotiates with your goals. That voice tells you that you deserve a break, that missing one day will not matter, that you can always restart tomorrow. It sounds reasonable, even logical, but it slowly weakens your standards. Every time you listen to it, you reinforce the identity of someone who quits under pressure. Winning this war requires recognizing that the battlefield is internal, and the opponent you must defeat is the weaker version of yourself. Motivation is emotional, and emotions are unstable. They rise and fall depending on sleep, stress, environment, and mood. Systems, however, are stable. A system does not ask how you feel, it tells you what to do next. When you build a structured routine with clear rules and non-negotiable actions, you remove the need for constant inspiration. You act because it is scheduled, because it is required, because it aligns with your standards. People who rely only on motivation burn out quickly. People who rely on systems continue moving forward even when the excitement fades and progress feels slow. The middle phase of any long commitment exposes your true character. In the beginning, enthusiasm carries you. At the end, the finish line pulls you forward. But in the middle, there is nothing but repetition. Results are not dramatic, praise is non-existent, and improvement feels incremental. This is where most people begin to doubt the process. They compare themselves to others, question their strategy, and look for easier alternatives. The discomfort of slow progress convinces them that quitting is reasonable. Only those who understand that mastery is built in boring, unseen moments manage to push through that demanding middle phase. Self-trust is one of the most powerful assets a person can develop, and discipline is how you build it. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you strengthen your belief in your own word. When you say you will wake up at a certain time and you do it, you gain confidence. When you commit to finishing a task and you follow through, you increase internal respect. Over time, these small acts compound into an unshakable sense of reliability. Without discipline, self-doubt grows. With discipline, you begin to see yourself as someone capable of enduring pressure and finishing what you start. The 9-0-day challenge is not about perfection. It is about consistency under resistance. There will be days when you perform at your best and days when you feel below average. Discipline does not require you to be flawless. It requires you to show up. Showing up when you are tired, distracted, or frustrated creates resilience. It teaches you that progress does not depend on ideal conditions. Instead of waiting for clarity or confidence, you act despite uncertainty. This repeated exposure to discomfort builds mental toughness, which eventually becomes part of your identity rather than something you struggle to maintain. Many people quit because they expect visible rewards too quickly. They measure progress only by external outcomes, such as money, recognition, or dramatic physical change. When those rewards do not appear immediately, they assume the effort is wasted. What they fail to see is that internal transformation always happens before external success. Discipline reshapes your thinking patterns, strengthens your focus, and improves your emotional control long before it produces visible results. By the time others notice your progress, the real transformation has already occurred within you, silently and steadily shaping a stronger version of your character. Ultimately, the 9-0-day discipline war is a test of identity rather than ability. It forces you to confront the gap between who you are and who you claim you want to become. Each day presents a choice: protect your comfort or protect your future. When you consistently choose long-term growth over short-term relief, you begin to redefine yourself. The habits you practice daily shape your standards, and your standards shape your life. Through sustained discipline, you move from being controlled by impulses to being guided by intention, creating a foundation strong enough to support lasting personal end. Professional advancement, the real enemy in the 9-0. Day discipline war is not your schedule, your lack of resources, or the people who doubt you. It is the quiet, persuasive voice inside your own mind that constantly looks for comfort. It tells you that you have worked hard enough, that you deserve a small reward, that skipping one day will not change anything. It sounds supportive, almost protective, but it slowly pulls you away from your standards. This voice does not shout, it whispers. It does not attack directly. It negotiates patiently until your commitment begins to weaken and your urgency begins to fade. That inner voice understands your weaknesses better than anyone else. It knows when you are tired, when you are stressed, when you feel unappreciated. It waits for those vulnerable moments to suggest easier options. Instead of finishing your task, it offers distraction. Instead of waking up early, it offers more sleep. Instead of pushing through discomfort, it offers temporary relief. The danger is not in one decision, but in repeated surrender. Each time you agree with that voice, you strengthen its authority. Over time, it becomes louder and more convincing, shaping your behavior until quitting feels natural and discipline feels extreme. The battle becomes intense because this enemy lives within your thoughts. You cannot escape it by changing environments or blaming circumstances. Even if you move to a new city, start a new job, or surround yourself with ambitious people, the internal negotiation continues. The problem is not location, it is identity. If you still see yourself as someone who avoids difficulty, your actions will follow that belief. Real change begins when you confront your own patterns honestly. You must recognize the excuses you repeat, the habits you justify, and the comfort you protect as obstacles you have allowed to grow unchecked. 1. Of the most dangerous aspects of this internal enemy is how reasonable it sounds. It rarely tells you to give up completely. Instead, it suggests moderation when intensity is required. It says you can slow down, adjust the plan, or take a short break that turns into several days. Because the suggestions seem balanced and rational, you accept them without resistance. Gradually, your discipline erodes. The war is lost not in dramatic collapse, but in subtle compromise. Small allowances become new standards, and the strong version of you begins to fade beneath layers of comfortable decisions. To defeat this enemy, you must develop awareness before you develop strength. Awareness allows you to catch the negotiation the moment it begins. When the voice says you can do it later, you recognize the pattern immediately. When it says this is too hard, you understand that difficulty is part of growth. Awareness creates a pause between impulse and action. In that pause, you regain control. Without awareness, you operate on autopilot, reacting to emotions and rationalizations. With awareness, you respond intentionally, choosing actions aligned with your long-term goals instead of short-term comfort. Discipline becomes powerful when you refuse to debate with your excuses. The more you argue with that internal voice, the more energy you waste. Instead of negotiating, you act. Instead of explaining why you feel tired, you begin the task. Action silences doubt more effectively than discussion ever could. When you move immediately, you interrupt the cycle of hesitation. Over time, this habit of decisive action weakens the internal enemy. It begins to lose credibility because you no longer entertain its arguments. You build momentum not by feeling ready, but by moving despite resistance. There will be moments when the internal battle feels overwhelming. You may question your ability, your purpose, or the value of your effort. These moments are not signs of failure. They are signs that the war is real. Growth challenges your comfort zone, and your mind naturally resists change. Instead of interpreting resistance as weakness, see it as evidence that you are stepping beyond your old limitations. Every time you push forward despite doubt, you prove that your commitment is stronger than your fear. That proof strengthens your confidence and reduces the power of future hesitation. Winning the war against yourself requires consistent confrontation. You must be willing to face your laziness, your distractions, and your patterns without denial. The goal is not to eliminate the inner voice entirely, but to stop obeying it blindly. When discipline becomes your default response, the voice loses control. You still hear it, but you choose differently. Each disciplined decision reinforces a new identity, one built on resilience and self-control. Over time, the internal enemy that once dictated your actions becomes a background noise, present but powerless to determine your direction. Motivation feels powerful in the beginning because it is emotional. It creates excitement, urgency, and a temporary surge of belief that this time will be different. You watch something inspiring, set bold goals, and feel ready to conquer everything at once. But motivation is tied to mood, and mood changes quickly. One bad night of sleep, one stressful conversation, or one unexpected setback can drain that emotional energy. When motivation fades, many people interpret it as a sign that they are no longer capable. They confuse temporary feelings with permanent ability, and that misunderstanding leads them toward inconsistency. Systems operate differently because they are not based on emotion. A system is a structured plan that tells you exactly what to do, regardless of how you feel. It removes the need for constant decision-making by creating automatic actions. When you have a clear morning routine, a fixed work schedule, and defined rules for behavior, you reduce internal debate. You no longer ask whether you should act, you simply follow the process. Systems protect you from emotional instability by providing structure. They turn discipline from a dramatic effort into a predictable pattern that repeats daily without hesitation. When people rely only on motivation, they overestimate their willpower. They believe that feeling inspired will carry them through weeks of effort. In reality, willpower is limited and easily depleted by stress, distractions, and fatigue. Each decision you make throughout the day consumes mental energy. By the time you reach important tasks, your motivation may already be weakened. Systems conserve that energy. By pre-deciding your actions, you avoid unnecessary choices. This reduces mental strain and increases consistency. Instead of fighting yourself every day, you create an environment where productive behavior becomes the default response. A strong system includes clear boundaries. It defines when you work, when you rest, and how you respond to temptation. Without boundaries, motivation is easily distracted. You may start your day with focus, but lose it to small interruptions. A system protects your priorities by limiting distractions before they occur. For example, setting specific times for checking messages or restricting certain habits during work hours prevents impulsive behavior. Structure reduces chaos. The more organized your routine becomes, the less space there is for procrastination to take control of your time and weaken your progress. Consistency grows when actions become automatic. At first, following a system feels rigid and demanding. You may resist the repetition because it lacks excitement. However, repetition builds familiarity, and familiarity builds comfort. Over time, the behaviors that once required effort begin to feel natural. You wake up at the same time without struggling. You begin work without hesitation. This transformation happens because systems rewire your habits. What was once difficult becomes routine. The goal is not to feel intense motivation every day, but to create patterns so stable that discipline continues even when enthusiasm disappears. Systems also create measurable progress. When you track your habits, performance, or productivity daily, you gain clarity. Instead of relying on vague feelings about improvement, you seek tangible evidence of your effort. Tracking reinforces accountability because it reveals whether you are following your commitments. Motivation alone does not provide that clarity. It relies on emotion rather than data. Systems encourage reflection and adjustment. If something is not working, you modify the process instead of abandoning the goal. This structured approach prevents emotional reactions from dictating your long-term decisions. Another advantage of systems is resilience during difficult periods. Life will introduce unexpected challenges, from personal stress to professional setbacks. When motivation is your only driver, these obstacles can completely derail your progress. Systems provide stability during turbulence. Even if you cannot perform at your highest level, you still follow the structure at a reduced capacity. This maintains momentum and prevents regression. By having a predefined routine, you eliminate the need to restart repeatedly. Instead of beginning from zero after every disruption, you continue moving forward with adjusted intensity. Ultimately, systems transform discipline from a struggle into a lifestyle. They remove reliance on unpredictable emotional states and replace them with intentional design. By committing to structured daily actions, you reduce the influence of doubt and hesitation. Over time, the repeated execution of small tasks compounds into significant change. Motivation may ignite the beginning of your journey, but systems sustain it. The more disciplined your structure becomes, the less dependent you are on inspiration, allowing steady progress regardless of mood, environment, or temporary setbacks. The middle phase of any serious commitment is where excitement disappears and reality takes control. In the beginning, energy carries you forward. You feel focused, determined, and proud of your decision to change. Every action feels meaningful because it is new. But once the novelty fades, you enter a quieter, more demanding stage. Progress becomes less visible and effort feels heavier. This is the stretch where there are no dramatic breakthroughs, no applause, and no immediate rewards. It is simply repetition. Many people underestimate this phase, assuming consistency will feel empowering every day, which it rarely does. During this middle stretch, doubts grow louder. You begin to question whether the effort is worth it. You look for faster results and compare your progress to others. Social media becomes a dangerous distraction, showing you highlight reels while you are living through the grind. It feels as if everyone else is moving faster while you remain stuck. These comparisons distort your perception of growth. Instead of recognizing steady improvement, you focus on what you have not yet achieved. This mental shift weakens your confidence and creates frustration, making quitting seem like a reasonable escape from disappointment. Boredom is one of the most underestimated obstacles in the middle phase. Discipline is not glamorous. It involves repeating the same tasks consistently. When something becomes predictable, your mind craves stimulation. You begin seeking excitement elsewhere, often through distractions that sabotage your progress. The routine that once felt empowering now feels monotonous. However, mastery is built through repetition. Excellence is not created by dramatic moments, but by refining small actions over time. Those who understand this remain steady even when enthusiasm fades, knowing that repetition strengthens skill, resilience, and mental endurance. Fatigue also becomes more noticeable in this stage. The initial adrenaline has worn off, and your body and mind feel the accumulated pressure of sustained effort. You may not be physically exhausted, but mentally you feel drained. Small setbacks seem larger than they are. Minor inconveniences feel overwhelming. This is when many people interpret discomfort as a signal to stop. In truth, it is a signal that growth is occurring. Your limits are being tested and your capacity is expanding. The discomfort is evidence that you are operating beyond your previous boundaries, not proof that you should retreat. The absence of visible results intensifies the struggle. When you work hard but cannot clearly see change, patience becomes difficult. You begin wondering whether your strategy is flawed or your goal unrealistic. However, most significant transformations happen internally before they appear externally. Your discipline is reshaping your mindset, strengthening focus, and building emotional control. These changes are subtle at first, but they accumulate. Those who quit during the middle phase never experience the compounded effect of sustained effort. They leave just before the breakthrough that requires patience and persistence. Resisting the urge to quit in this stage requires clarity of purpose. When your reasons are shallow, boredom and fatigue will overpower them. You must remind yourself why you started and what you ask. Stand to lose if you abandon the process. Clear purpose stabilizes you when motivation fades. It shifts your focus from temporary discomfort to long-term vision. When you understand that every repeated action is an investment in your future, the monotony becomes meaningful. Instead of seeing routine as a burden, you recognize it as the foundation of lasting growth and achievement. Another challenge in the middle phase is isolation. Fewer people understand or support sustained discipline because most abandon it early. As you continue pushing forward, you may feel alone. Friends may question your intensity or encourage you to relax. This social pressure can weaken your resolve if you seek validation. Discipline often requires temporary separation from comfortable environments. The loneliness is not permanent, but it tests your independence. Learning to rely on your own standards rather than external approval strengthens your character and reinforces your commitment during uncertain periods. Surviving the middle phase reshapes your identity more than any other stage. Anyone can start strong, and many can finish when success is near. Remaining steady in the unseen middle requires patience, emotional control, and belief in delayed rewards. When you continue despite boredom, doubt, and fatigue, you prove to yourself that your commitment is deeper than temporary emotion. This proof builds resilience and prepares you for greater challenges ahead. The middle is not simply a passage to endure. It is where discipline transforms from an effort into a defining part of who you are becoming. Self-trust is not something you are born with. It is something you build through consistent action. Every promise you make to yourself creates an opportunity to strengthen or weaken that trust. When you say you will wake up early, complete a task, or avoid a distraction, you create a contract way. If your own mind, if you follow through, you reinforce reliability. If you break it, you introduce doubt. Over time, these small moments accumulate. The way you handle daily commitments determines whether you see yourself as dependable or unreliable, strong or inconsistent, disciplined or impulsive in challenging situations. Many people struggle with confidence, not because they lack ability, but because they lack self-trust. They set goals enthusiastically, yet repeatedly fail to honor their own commitments. This pattern slowly damages their belief in themselves. When a new opportunity appears, they hesitate because past behavior has proven inconsistent. Discipline interrupts this cycle. By doing what you said you would do, even in minor tasks, you rebuild credibility with yourself. Confidence becomes a byproduct of consistency. Instead of relying on positive thinking alone, you base your self-belief on evidence created by repeated follow-through and intentional daily effort. Keeping promises to yourself requires integrity in private moments. Public accountability can motivate you temporarily, but real growth occurs when nobody is watching. When you choose discipline without external authority, you begin to respect yourself because you act according to your standards rather than your emotions. This respect changes how you approach challenges. You no longer question whether you can endure discomfort because you have proof of previous endurance. The simple act of honoring small commitments becomes the foundation for handling larger responsibilities with stability and determination. Breaking promises to yourself has consequences beyond missed tasks. Each broken commitment sends a message that your words lack weight. Over time, this erodes your ability to take yourself seriously. You may speak about ambition, success, or transformation, but internally you know your actions do not align. This misalignment creates internal tension and reduces motivation. Discipline restores alignment. When your actions consistently reflect your intentions, mental conflict decreases. You feel more grounded and decisive. Clarity replaces hesitation because you trust that once you decide something, you will execute it without constant negotiation. Building self-trust also increases resilience during setbacks. When unexpected obstacles arise, you do not panic or retreat. You rely on your history of discipline as reassurance that you can adapt and continue. Instead of viewing a mistake as proof of failure, you see it as a temporary deviation from your standard. This perspective prevents emotional collapse. You understand that consistency is measured over time, not by isolated incidents. Because you trust your commitment, you return to your routine quickly, minimizing damage and maintaining forward momentum, even in uncertain circumstances. Self-trust influences how others perceive you as well. When you demonstrate reliability in your own habits, that reliability extends into professional and personal relationships. People sense consistency and strength in those who honor their commitments. However, external recognition is secondary. The most important transformation occurs internally. You no longer require validation because your confidence comes from self-respect. The knowledge that you can depend on yourself provides stability that external praise cannot match. This internal security strengthens your leadership, communication, and decision-making in every area of life. Discipline transforms self-trust from a fragile hope into a solid foundation. Instead of hoping you will stay consistent, you expect it from yourself. Expectations create higher standards, and higher standards influence behavior. When you view yourself as someone who finishes what they start, quitting feels unnatural. Your identity shifts from uncertain to dependable. This identity reduces mental friction. You do not debate whether to act, you act because it aligns with who you believe you are. The stronger this identity becomes, the less room there is for excuses to interfere with your progress. Over time, the accumulation of disciplined actions reshapes your entire self-image. You stop seeing yourself as someone who needs constant motivation or supervision. You recognize your capacity for endurance and focus. This recognition empowers you to pursue larger goals because you trust your ability to sustain effort. Self-trust becomes a silent strength guiding your choices. Each completed task reinforces the belief that you are capable of long-term commitment. With this belief, you approach future challenges with steadiness, knowing that your discipline is not temporary, but deeply rooted in consistent personal integrity. The 90-day challenge is not about achieving perfection in every action. It is about proving to yourself that you can remain consistent under pressure. Many people approach discipline with an unrealistic expectation that they must perform flawlessly every single day. When they make a mistake or miss a target, they interpret it as total failure. This mindset creates unnecessary discouragement. True discipline allows room for imperfection while refusing to accept surrender. The goal is steady progress, not flawless execution. Showing up repeatedly, even at reduced intensity, builds strength far more effectively than short bursts of unsustainable effort. Consistency under resistance is what separates temporary effort from lasting transformation. Resistance appears in many forms: fatigue, distraction, boredom, self-doubt, or unexpected problems. These challenges test whether your commitment depends on convenience. If you only act when circumstances are ideal, your discipline will collapse at the first sign of difficulty. The 90-day framework forces you to confront resistance directly. It requires action when motivation is absent and focus feels strained. By choosing to continue despite discomfort, you develop resilience that extends beyond a single goal and influences every future pursuit you undertake. There will be days when your performance feels average or below your expectations. During those moments, it is tempting to abandon the routine entirely. However, partial progress is always stronger than complete inactivity. Discipline teaches you to value continuity over intensity. A shorter workout, a reduced workload, or a simplified version of your task still preserves momentum. Momentum is critical because it maintains psychological stability. When you avoid breaking your streak of effort, you reinforce the habit of consistency. This habit becomes more powerful than the individual tasks themselves, strengthening your long-term discipline. Over 90 days, patterns begin to shift gradually. At first, actions feel forced and unnatural. You must consciously push yourself to follow through. As weeks pass, repetition reduces resistance. The behaviors that once required mental effort become automatic. This shift occurs because the brain adapts to repeated actions, forming stronger neural connections. What felt difficult in the beginning becomes familiar. The discipline that once seemed restrictive begins to feel structured and stabilizing. This internal adaptation proves that consistency reshapes not only your results, but also the way your mind processes effort and routine. The challenge also reveals hidden weaknesses that might otherwise remain unnoticed. As you push yourself daily, you observe triggers that lead to distraction or procrastination. You notice patterns in your energy levels, emotional responses, and productivity cycles. This awareness allows you to adjust your strategies intelligently. Without sustained effort, these insights remain invisible. Short-term attempts rarely expose deep behavioral patterns. 90 days provide enough time for recurring habits to surface clearly. Identifying these patterns is essential because lasting change requires understanding the roots of inconsistency rather than simply treating surface behaviors. Another important aspect of this challenge is emotional regulation. Discipline requires you to act independently of fluctuating moods. Over time, you learn that feelings are temporary and do not have to dictate behavior. Instead of reacting impulsively to frustration or discouragement, you develop the ability to pause and proceed calmly. This emotional stability strengthens decision-making in all areas of life. By practicing consistent action despite emotional shifts, you train yourself to respond with intention rather than impulse. This skill becomes invaluable when facing high-pressure situations beyond the initial 90-day commitment. As the days accumulate, confidence begins to grow quietly. Unlike motivation, which feels dramatic and intense, confidence built through discipline is steady and grounded. You no longer rely on external encouragement because you have evidence of your ability to endure. Each completed week reinforces the belief that you can maintain structure even when challenged. This confidence reduces hesitation in new opportunities. You approach tasks with a mindset shaped by experience rather than hope. The knowledge that you have sustained effort for an extended period becomes a reliable source of internal strength. By the end of the 90 days, the transformation is not defined solely by visible achievements. The deeper change lies in your standards and expectations of yourself. You recognize that consistency is possible, even when circumstances are imperfect. The challenge reshapes your understanding of effort, replacing short-term intensity with sustained discipline. You become more patient with progress and more demanding of your own behavior. The identity shift that occurs through repeated action becomes the foundation for future growth, influencing how you approach new goals with steadiness, clarity, and controlled determination. Stop waiting, stop negotiating, stop saying one day. Draw the line today. Pick your habits, pick your standard, pick your rules, and commit to 90 days. Number applause, no shortcuts, no quitting. You don't need motivation. You need a decision so strong that your excuses don't stand a chance. 90 days from now, you will either have results or you will have regrets. Choose wisely. The war starts now. Are you fighting or are you quitting like everyone else? Make your move.